Jurus number one, I call the break. It's just Khalid into a break, followed by catch, block number 6, and then our Timpa forearm with the outside edge of the forearm. This Jurus I like to teach as a method for introducing some conditioning. It's a great place to start. Introduces a couple different types of blocking, hard blocking and soft blocking, that allows you to kind of see when to put pressure and when to flow, which is super important. It's important to learn how to adapt in any situation to too much pressure, a larger opponent, too many people on you, and maybe you don't want to use direct pressure. You want to release some of that energy and then shift and hit on a different line. It's very important to understand the difference between these types of energy, this push energy and pull energy, this give and take energy. It's important to intuitively understand when to switch between those things. So with this Jurus, as I said, we're starting with our Jurus Khalid. So from our 0 position here, we would use the Jurus Khalid. And then we're going to rotate and catch, break. It's a break at the elbow. Now we're going to catch with this hand and guide the arm away, and then hit with the forearm. Let's take a look at Jurus number 1, just as a conditioning drill. So we'll do it without the footwork first, just squared up with an opponent. Okay, so we can also do this drill back and forth to give both people an opportunity to condition. So in this case, one person will be doing right side, one person will be doing left side to keep the drill flowing. These Jurus start on the square footwork platform. So what we'll do is we'll square up on the bottom. What that means to me is that we are kind of in a 0 preparedness position. This is a 0 preparedness position with the feet. This is a 0 preparedness position with the hands. And this or this would be complete unpreparedness. The idea with starting from this posture is that your hands have to kind of move out from there. It's just a standard posture for 0, whereas obviously 0 would be here completely unprepared. So with our square, what we're doing is when we step, we're going to flank on the opponent. So we want to get out of the way of the punch by stepping up this way. All I'm doing is stepping to this point on the square straight ahead here. Okay? What I'll do is I'll lead with my knee when I step. That's the Chamande step. That's in a different video. So if I'm here and I step up, I lead with this parry and move into my Khalid. That's me getting out of the way of the punch. Okay? From this position, what I want to do is turn and start to grab. Okay? As I break, come around here and step in so that when I'm breaking, I'm cutting through the person's arm rather than reaching out to break. I want to move through the person, take over their position rather than reach out and try to get to that arm. Another point that I want you to note is that when I break, or when I'm doing my Khalid here and I'm getting ready to break, I'm not shifting with my Khalid. What I want to do is get out of the way of the punch first, get a hold of that punch, and then invest in twisting through the break this way. If I do my Khalid this direction, then when I get ready to go do the break, my shoulder's already turned so I don't have power. One of the things that stops people from being able to do effective breaking is the angle that they do the breaks at, how they introduce power, and then the position that they have their opponent in when they do the break. The idea is if you're too far away the break is probably not going to happen because they have too much room to move their feet. And if their feet are in a position where they can just kind of walk and move with the break, then the break is probably not going to happen because they have a way to escape. So what we're trying to do with this footwork is get them into a position where they can't escape. So again, if we're starting from here, I'm going to step up with my chamande stance and do a khalid. Okay. When I do my khalid, I don't want to hit to the side. I want to hit more in this way. So there's a little bit of pressure. And now I'm going to release that pressure and hit through with this break. When I break, I want to hit here in the center. I don't want to come too far down. I don't want to come too far forward. I want to keep my arm almost straight up and down and break right here, right in front of myself. Okay? As I finish this break here, I'm now going to shift with this block here and then shift my feet this way to do the hit here. So as I block, I turn with the block here. So let's look at that all together. One of the things about using the square like this is a lot of our footwork is used off the square, so it's easy to see where you can draw applications from these jurus. So that's kind of the idea with the jurus, is to bring them, offer them to you in a way where it's easier to see what I can do with these immediately, what I can do to modify them, turn them into something that that I can use and adapt and get creative with, come up with all kinds of different applications and ideas from them. So one of the things we're doing here is using the idea of Kuda Kiri and Kuda Kanan, which is something you learn in the beginning, and I know from personal experience teaching hundreds and hundreds of students, that sometimes they're like, well, what the heck would I use that for? And the idea with Kuda Kiri and Kuda Kanan in application is, it's a way to absorb something without going anywhere. So if I'm in a position here and I'm squared up, I don't have any balance backwards and forward. So what that does is it puts me in a very weakened position. Any strikes that I have, I can just kind of waste the power by losing my balance. So what we'll do is shift into a stance this way so that I have a structured position to push from. Even if I'm still hitting this direction, I have something to push off of. So that gives me some stability and some power. So the idea with the break is we're shifting into the break here as we step in here. And now we're in our Kuda Kiri position. And then we shift to Kuda Kanan so that we're using this torque and twist in the hips here, pushing from the ground to get power. And we're shifting the weight without going anywhere. And the value in that is that we are staying close to the opponent while all of this is happening, and we are keeping pressure on them. And we want to make sure that our blocks and our hits, in this case, that they're penetrating through with some power, and that we are kind of driving them through on a line that holds value. So when I hit with my break, I don't want to hit this way. I want to hit kind of, if my square had an X across it, what I would like to do is hit across this line. So when I'm up here and I hit, I want to hit this way. When I go to do my forearm hit, I want to hit this way, this line here. And what that's doing is, if the opponent is straight ahead, it's cutting across their stance so that I'm not pushing them backwards. I'm cutting in this way so that it disrupts their spine, their center line, and their stance. I want to disrupt the opponent's entire body, not just their arms, by doing this. Of course, I'm trying to break, so the idea with the initial movement is to cause damage so that the whole rest of the situation is easier to deal with because they're damaged in some way. So again, from the other side, if I'm here and I flank with this, get my head out of the way here, but I don't want to be too far out of the way. I want to be just alongside him here. I want that punch just alongside me here. Now I slide grab this way, okay, to get a hold for that break. So here, and I step in to this point here. Okay, that's my break. You can see it's very small here. I don't want to come through with a big motion. I want to keep this as tight as possible, just far enough to break. Okay. Now if I'm here and this other punch comes in, say this break is unsuccessful, he gets his arm bent a little bit or something happens and it's not breaking. So I'm going to come in and catch this secondary punch here, one, and now twist and hit here. And now I'll come through with that saber kick as an application maybe if I see that that leg is available. But the Jurus ends there. 1, 2. Now you'll notice when I end the Jurus here, I've done my catch here and my hit here. You'll notice that I'm in my Kuda Kiri, Kuda Kanan positions with this position. This is my automatic block number 1. So one of the things that I've incorporated into these Jurus is the idea that they should kind of end in a valuable position. You should understand where you're ending when you finish whatever you're doing so that you have ideas for how to move into the next thing. So if you're in a position where you've shifted and you're here and you've got this forward, you know that this is a position that we use to cover for kicks. So it's very intuitive to flow into that as your next motion. And after you finish doing something destructive, the opponent is obviously going to try to do something back, and we want to stay ahead of that. So we finish our strike in a position this way. Okay? 1, 2. And now this is cover for my face to shrug off any secondary, or at this point it would be a third strike that he's throwing. I have that to be able to cover and to block.